Hello, everyone. My name is Hans Badillo. I'm marketing manager of Casabella Properties, and today we have a very special guest. We have Joanna Recinos. She's one of our top agents in our office, and we have the honor to be with her today. She's going to share a lot of good insights about real estate and about her experience with clients today. Welcome, Joanna. Thank you for being with us today.
No,
Um,
thank you, Hans.
Thank you. So, okay, let's go into this interview. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Joanna. How long have you been in this industry of real estate? Where do you live? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and hopefully, I can give some good insight on the market and share a little bit about who I am and what I do, and see how we can service you guys in the near future.
Awesome.
Again, my name is Joanna Recinos. I have been in the industry since 2002, you can say. I started with a lending background. Actually, I started with a commercial lending background. I then went on to do residential lending, and I did that for about 4 years. Then I decided to make a switch, and I have been a realtor since 2006. So I'm fully committed, love what I do, and I don't see myself doing anything else.
Wow. So you started from, I guess you've been in different parts of the real estate transaction so far.
Yes, yes, I have. And quite frankly, at this stage in my life, I see it as a huge advantage because I can relate to a lot of my customers when they come to me with lending questions, or maybe they're working with a loan officer that maybe I don't necessarily know, but I can help answer some questions that that individual is not clarifying with my clients. So it's a huge benefit.
And it is very important actually right now. Right now we have a lot of agents in the industry, but I think what gives an added value to an agent is that they know every step of the process or the transaction. So I think you've done a great job so far. And actually, what area are you working on right now? Like, what is your focus area in this moment?
Well, my focus area is predominantly the Inglewood area. I'm a native to Inglewood, born and raised here. I went to
Oh.
school, did have done everything here. I moved away for a couple of years, but obviously this is always my home, so I came back. But in addition to that, since I've been always here in the area of Inglewood, I also am very familiar with the surrounding areas such as Hawthorne, Lawndale, Gardena, all the surrounding neighborhoods here. But my main focus right now is the city of Inglewood.
Cool, perfect. I've heard that Inglewood is having like an exponential growth and a lot of families coming in. So I think you're the perfect person since you've been in this area for a long time. So great.
Yes, definitely. The city is going through tremendous changes with this new SoFi Stadium being built. So we are seeing a lot more movement here in the neighborhood, even with the home sales. I mean, all that's changed drastically.
Okay, Joanna, now let's talk a little bit more about the Inglewood area, like all these zip codes or all this area. Um, so why would someone would like to live in this area? Why would you say is the main reason buyer should purchase a home in here?
Well, I can tell you, Inglewood is definitely an up and coming city. I will tell you, it's going to be definitely the next hype. It already is, considering that the new Ram Stadium, SoFi Stadium, is being built here. We also have the Forum that is also brings a lot of attraction. We have several concerts, and like I mentioned, the SoFi Stadium is also going to bring a lot of jobs to the neighborhood, which is definitely a positive. We are seeing so many new businesses around us, nice coffee shops, just in general, big coffee shops. We're near a convenient location. I'm literally like 5 minutes from LAX airport, which is one of the biggest international airports. You're just so close to freeways, major freeways, parks. We have a lot of parks in the city of Inglewood. So all in all, it's a great city. I mean, we're just growing exponentially all over the area, and I'm seeing it every day. Every day I drive down, it's either, a new restaurant opening, or, new updates to the city, to the major areas that we pass by every day. So definitely is a great city. And in addition to that, with all this movement going on, obviously we've seen an appreciation in values here.
Okay.
Right now the median price range here in the city of Inglewood is about 650,000 to start. And with
Wow.
that being said, it's a great market for sellers, because right now we are getting so much demand, but we don't have enough inventory. And the homes that do come on the market that are priced right do sell within the first week. So we are definitely in a hot market, hot sellers market, I should say.
It's a wholesale market. That's great. Okay, and what about the community in the area? How do you feel is since you've been living for a long time in there?
You know what? The community here in Inglewood is very liberal as far as you have diversity. You have you have three different zip codes here in the city of Inglewood. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
I should say four different zip codes here in the city of Inglewood.
Oh,
And predominantly you have a mixture of cultures. Community is probably about 100,000 people here in the neighborhood. I'm sorry, here in the city of Inglewood.
mhm.
But all in all, it's a great growing community, and I highly encourage it for anyone who's looking to look into a growing city. This is definitely the place to be.
It is definitely. Perfect, Joanna. Now I have another question for you. I was
Hmm.
reading the other day in the CAR website, the California Association of Realtors, and they were conducting a survey to sellers and homeowners regarding their real estate transaction. And they mentioned that pricing the home was what they needed most help from the agent. So what would you recommend, or what strategy you have for someone to price their home?
Look, my honest advice to that is that, every seller is going to have their own personal opinion as to what their home is worth. There are a lot of great helpful websites out there, such as Zillow, Trulia, all these other great websites. But to be quite frank, I always tell my clients, numbers don't lie. It's looking at recent sales and statistics to really show you what would be the right way to price your home. And with that being said, there are many factors that come into play to pricing a home, such as, your area, the condition of your property, curb appeal. I mean, a lot of things come into play to making sure you price your home right from the beginning. And with that, I would say, making sure you price it right. If you price a home right, it's going to sell. If you go above market, you might be in the market for too long. It all depends on your time frame, your motivation. But all in all, is definitely uh, looking at the recent home sales that have sold. Like I said, numbers don't lie. So I would say that would be the first approach to begin in making the right decision to pricing a home right.
Okay, and actually that brings to my mind just a quick question. I know that there are a lot of websites, like you say, like Trulia, Realtor.com, Zillow, that they offer this CMA report, which is a home value report or home value estimate. What's the difference, I guess, like with that estimate and with actually putting a true price to that home when you meet with the realtor?
That's a great question, Hans. And those websites are obviously always a good starting point, but those websites offer CMAs that are more generalized and are on a broad spectrum versus you reaching out to an individual like myself. My job is to compare homes apples to apples in order to determine what
Okay.
would be the fair market value of a home. And technically speaking, well, like I
Hmm.
said, it's more generalized versus what we do is we analyze it more in depth, and we look at all the specs and details. And Zillow, Trulia, and all those other websites, they don't take the time to do that.
Yeah, that means that definitely I mean, you can take that as a starting point, as you said, but don't rely on that estimate.
Yes,
It's better to
exactly.
go to the agent. Okay,
Right.
that clears up a lot of my doubts. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Joanna, now let's talk a little bit more about what are the most frequent challenges that you have encountered during uh, seller transaction? Like, what would you say is one of the most challenging uh, parts of a real estate transaction?
That's a great question because in a real estate transaction, there are so many parties involved. And, even though we ultimately, my sellers hire me to get the property sold, and I can do everything that I'm expected to do from the very beginning. But when I come into working in a transaction and we're already in escrow, working with the party on the other side representing the buyer and them not being diligent in how they set expectations to their clients, I would say has become my greatest challenge, because although I have my fiduciary duty to my client and I'm doing everything I was hired to do, it's tough when the other party's not doing their part, and I'm having to step in to, lead on that phase in order to make sure that the transaction closes in the timely manner as my clients expect it to be. So I would say, yeah, working with agents that don't necessarily set the right expectations to their buyers as far as timelines, time frames, and what's expected on their end as a buyer, because we all have duties, sellers and buyers.
Okay, yeah, definitely. It is important that when you choose an agent, you make sure that you're choosing the right agent. And actually, I just have another question regarding that. Just if you can respond very briefly, it's okay.
Yes, of
What would you
course.
say is like how would you recommend someone to choose an agent? Like, what are the minimum requisites that you would say someone to, okay, look into this to make sure that the agent is gonna handle the transaction well?
Look, I would say making sure that, first of all, that you hire an agent that puts your needs first, because at the end of the day, our clients' needs are our priority. In addition to that, just making sure that the agent is completely thorough and diligent with you. Oftentimes, I've seen many mistakes where sellers hire agents just because they tell them what they want to hear and not necessarily being clear up front. Because,
Mhm.
as agents, we can always, you can tell me something and I can agree, but my job as an agent is to give you my honest and professional opinion. And I feel that,
Yeah.
hiring the right agent, you should know that from the very beginning. When you sit down and you meet with them and you interview them, you will get the sense if that's the right agent to work with. But ultimately is, yeah, making sure that they put your needs first and prioritize that first and foremost.
Okay. Good to know that. Put your needs first. That's important.
Yes.
Okay, Joanna, it's been great to be with you today. So we're gonna go with one of our last questions, which is, tell us a little bit more about one of the most difficult transactions that you've gone through. How did you overcome those challenges, and what was the final outcome to that?
Well, that's a great question, Hans, because in my years of being in the industry, I've came across a lot of transactions, some nightmares, some good ones. But I
I
would
bet
say,
you did.
honestly, my most recent one is doing the one transaction. I was in the midst of escrow when the whole pandemic started.
Oh wow.
That transaction was really, it was like when it rained, it poured. I mean, literally, we were in transaction, got the offer accepted, and then all of a sudden, this whole pandemic hit, everything froze. My sellers were stressed out. They weren't sure if the buyers were going to lose their job, they were going to back out. And long story short, we were able to get through that phase. But along that escrow phase, since, we were in quarantine, and the escrow closing of that escrow did take a little bit longer than expected because of the the circumstances that we were under.
Hmm.
But in the midst of all that, someone broke into the home. They stole.
What?
Yes, they broke into the home. They actually, stole. fixtures from the property, damaged a few things. So, and this was a vacant home. This was an investment home for my client. So, because it was vacant, no one was living there. My client still had a mortgage obligation on that property. And in the midst of all this, escrow was taking longer to close. And then, in addition to that, once we got over that hurdle, as we're getting close to closing, we have a leak that happens in the main bathroom, goes through the walls. I mean, it was by far my most challenging transaction.
Wow, it was like challenge after challenge after.
It really was. And I would say that has definitely been one of my most challenging transactions, especially during these times. But the most important part about it is that we were able to successfully close the transaction, had a very
Mm,
happy seller, very happy
yeah.
buyer. And in this transaction, what made it work goes back to what I touched on at the beginning, that the buyer's agent was very diligent, very involved, set the right expectations with her buyers. And with us working as a team, we were able to come to a successful close. And, I
It was
wouldn't have been able to.
teamwork.
It was
Teamwork,
teamwork. At the end of the day,
definitely.
it was teamwork. And like I said, setting the right expectations and guiding my clients through the process, whether it be good or bad. I had sleepless nights over it. I was very stressed, but all in all, we got it done. And I am so grateful we did.
Wow. Well, I admire you, Joanna, because I've seen that you've gone through a lot of transactions. I know that you work hard in your office. You're a good example for all of our agents and for support staff too. So we thank you. Thank you for this time. Thank you for sharing that story. It was really good, and it's good to know. Like for you who are listening to this story, like we have really good professional agents in our office. We're ready to, if something comes up in any time of the transaction, we have a whole support team to support you as well. It's not only the agent. We have our staff support, and like we're more than willing to help you out. So thank you, Joanna, again for your time, and well, we'll have to see you soon in another call.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And again, it was a pleasure. And just remember, we're here to service your needs. So give us a call.
Yes, give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you.